Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's TNA Impact Wrestling for June 27th, 2013. The show starts off with Sting and Kurt Angle coming to the ring. They talk about how Sting can never wrestle for the world title because of the Aces and Eights. The Aces and Eights screwed Kurt Angle out of the BFG series. And they will introduce the newest member of the Main Event Mafia later tonight, and they will fight fire with fire. One thing I have to say about the Main Event Mafia, I do like their theme music. And maybe it's because I have been drinking tonight. I just finished watching the show. But I do like that theme music. And when Angle came out, Taz mentioned the fact that, what did he say? He said something like, oh, Kurt Angle could come out with Sting. He's got to come out and we have to hear that lame music twice. Like the Aces and Eights don't come out multiple times per show, and we have to hear their music over and over again. But then again, you could say, oh, it's just Taz, he's being a heel. He knows that. It's just the Aces and Eights. Whatever, but opening segment was okay. Backstage, Bully Ray, Doc, and Anderson snatch up Sabin. They tell him that if he wins the match tonight, he better not cash in against Bully. Then we see the Big O, Adam O'Reiner, gut check video. Now, the Big O is that guy who was in a lot of the Long Island IZ videos with Zack Ryder. He seems like a really nice guy in real life. He's jacked to the frickin' gills. If there's anybody in TNA that's got the Ryback look, it's the Big O. Rob Terry's a huge guy, but he sucks balls in the ring. The Big O can at least go, and he's got the look to him. He could be TNA's Ryback if they book him right. But anyways, he's got this lame-ass catchphrase on his ass, the tights, or jacket or something, I don't know, that says, every day I'm musclin'. That's lame. Anyways, Suicide versus Kenny King versus Sabin for the X Division title. There's actually a fan in the crowd with a Taz for Hall of Fame sign. I shit you not, I could not believe this. This has to be done ironically. This man cannot possibly believe that Taz deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, even the TNA Hall of Fame. Taz does not deserve to be in any Hall of Fame. So, I don't know what the hell was going on here, but King goes for the Royal Flush. Suicide reverses it into a roll-up. It looked like he holds the ropes. He wins the match, new X Division champion. Hulk Hogan comes out with TJ Perkins. And he says TJ has always been Suicide, which is not true. Suicide, for the most part, was Christopher Daniels, sometimes Kazarian. And he says that this guy is an imposter. This is a fake Suicide. Suicide runs off with the belt. At this point in the show, I was thinking, surely they're not going to let him keep the belt because the real Suicide, TJ Perkins, at least storyline-wise, worked his ass off to get this match. Therefore, whoever won the match as a fake Suicide should not get the title. But of course, we find out later in the show, spoiler alert, Suicide's Austin Aries, the fake Suicide. So they're going to let him keep the belt. But Hogan says that Suicide has till the end of the night to take the mask off. We see Ryan Howe, the next gut check contestant. We see a video of this guy. So it's the gut check match. Ryan Howe comes out playing the guitar. He's playing all this, he's playing it with his tongue. He's slapping it. All types of shit. And he looks like an 80s hair metal band and a mix of Matt Taven from Ring of Honor. But I actually have to say, I thought the guitar stuff was pretty cool. Maybe not every single week, it would get old after a while. But here I thought it worked for him. I thought it was different, and I don't think I've ever seen that on a wrestling show, so I thought it was cool. But Taz calls him Van Hammer, which I have to admit was awesome. Van Hammer, if you don't remember, was part of Raven's flock in WCW. He had the pierced nipple, so he would wear like these mesh shirts and have like a big hole in the nipple area with the piercing. It was completely ridiculous, but it was funny that Taz called him out, and I instantly popped for that, being a huge Ravens flock fan. But match itself was okay. Big O wins with a power slam. Backstage, Bully Ray asked TJ Perkins if Sting and Angle put him up to this whole thing, and TJ says that he was jumped and he doesn't know who did it. Velvet Sky versus Mickie James for the Knockouts title. Mickie tells her no one wants to see her get hurt tonight. She needs to just walk away. And Velvet attacks her. Mickie attacks the knee and makes Velvet tap out. Crowd did not care at all for this. Crowd was actually dead for a lot of the show. Backstage, Sting and Angle see Bobby Roode walk by and they look at each other like, So kind of teasing the possibility that Bobby Roode is the third member of the new Main Event Mafia. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby Roode ends up being a member of the new Main Event Mafia. It's not like they have a lot to choose from, so I could easily see Bobby Roode joining, Austin Aries joining, AJ Styles joining. I think all three of those guys will probably join the Main Event Mafia, and if not, at least one of them will. Surely. Hogan asked the referee if he noticed anything different about Suicide tonight. He didn't. And then Hogan says, well, go tell the imposter that he better take the mask off or he's going to strip him of the title. Hogan sends a referee to do this job. Bobby Roode versus Magnus in the BFG Series match. Magnus gets the win with the scoop driver. Decent match here, but the crowd was really into it. And I'm surprised Magnus went over. I think it's great. Magnus is a young guy. He's got a lot of potential. He's talented in the ring and on the mic. They really need to push this motherfucker. I mean, he's got everything. Aces and Eights rush the locker room where they see Jesse, Robbie E, and Chavo. Bully says, shut up, Robbie. And if any of you guys are suicide, it will be career suicide. Storm and Gunner are in the ring. They're talking about how they're the tag team champions, even though they didn't even bring the belts with them for some reason. Robbie E, Jesse, and Tara come out. Robbie E says that they're the bro-mans. I actually wrote bro-bands here because I didn't know what the hell he was saying. But they say they're the bro-mans. Bro, M-A-N-S. James Storm does some comedy about how they're the bro-mants. But they're like, no, we're the bro-mans. They're the future of tag team wrestling. And what the hell did I write here? And Robbie E says, this train has already sailed down the road, bro. And he repeats this. So I actually thought that was pretty funny. But Storm calls Tara a butterface. Jesse goes to attack him and Gunner knocks him out. This was really weird. I actually have to say I enjoyed this segment. I thought it was pretty funny. I like James Storm. I like this new tag team, the Bromans. I think they have potential. I don't mind Jesse, and I've said before in a lot of videos, I like Robbie E. I like the way he oversells. I think Robbie E's fine in his role. I have no problem with him. So I like this new tag team, but this whole segment kind of died when Jesse runs at Storm and then Gunner just knocks him out. It was really weird. Looked like shit. Then we get Anderson versus Samoa Joe in a BFG Series match. Anderson on his way to the ring, he goes to pound Taz, and Taz is on his fucking cell phone, not even paying attention. So he looks up and he's like this. So they do this type of shit. It looks really lame, and Taz is like, what was that? It was bad. But Anderson gets in the ring, and a fan actually yells, "Taz, you suck." And I thought this was funny because Taz acknowledges this, and he's like, well, some people love me, some people hate me, but I get a reaction wherever I go. Yeah, like he's fucking John Cena. No. Most people hate you. Go away, Heat. They don't want to see you anymore. They don't want to hear you anymore. You've been useless since fucking 2001. I didn't care for a SmackDown run as an announcer. And really, Taz's career, when he was really on top, was just a few years. ECW champion, he went to WWE, he instantly went on commentary. That's basically what happened with Taz. You don't really count the whole Tazmaniac gimmick because it sucked ass. So really, Taz was only on top for like a few years. So I'm completely over Taz. I'm not a big fan of his, if you've watched my previous videos. And I cannot believe the fact that this guy still tries to get himself over as some type of hero in the history of pro wrestling. Like he did something no one else has ever done. It really didn't happen that way. If anything, you have to give credit to Paul Lee for the entire Taz character. But anyways, that was a weird rant I just went off on. But during the match, Doc and Nux run out to distract Joe. Kurt Angle and Sting run out and they fight them off. Joe makes Anderson tap out for the win. And Joe hugs Sting and Angle, so he's the newest member of the Main Event Mafia. I think a lot of people kind of saw this one coming. It wasn't a big shocker. Like I said before, they don't really have a lot of options with this new Main Event Mafia. They got Samoa Joe, they got Bobby Roode, they got Austin Aries, they got AJ Styles. That's really all they have to choose from. I can't think of anybody else they could bring in that would be a big surprise. I hear Kevin Nash is on a 5-year contract with WWE, so it's not going to be him. Thank God we dodged that bullet. It's not going to be Booker T because he's coming back to WWE after his surgery on his shoulder. And it's not going to be Scott Steiner because he pissed off Eric Bischoff posting all that crap on Twitter. So really they just have to choose from the current roster, and it's really just those guys. So it's either going to be all of them or at least one of them. But backstage they give Joe a suit. Kurt Angle says, "You're going to like the way you look," and Sting says, "And I guarantee it." So a little Men's Warehouse joke there. Hogan comes out and he calls out Suicide. Suicide refuses to take off the mask. Bully Ray comes out and tells him to take off the mask, and then he tells him to just walk away. And Suicide starts cutting a promo with this distorted voice. It sounded like Kane back in the Attitude Era when he used the voice box. It was incredibly lame. I couldn't believe it. And then he takes the mask off. It's Austin Aries. Now this was pretty cool. I like the fact that it's Austin Aries because Austin Aries cashed in before. He beat Bully Ray before. This could be a good storyline. However, I did think the voice box thing was lame. But anyways, that's how Impact ended. So not really a bad show this week. It wasn't a lot of wrestling on the show. The matches, the crowd didn't care for a lot. They popped for Austin Aries being this imposter Suicide. They popped for Magnus beating Bobby Roode. But most of this show they didn't really care about. So, and myself, I liked the fact that they had a couple good matches here and there, but nothing really special on this show. So I have to say, it was really an average Impact. I also popped for Austin Aries being Suicide. I think it's a great idea. But the whole voice box thing was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, who is this guy? And then it was getting down to the wire, and I was like, they better reveal this guy, or I'm going to be pissed. And then, of course, we see it's Austin Aries. I was like, okay, that makes sense. This could work. Austin Aries cashes in the X Division title like he did last year. He goes on to face Bully Ray. There's a lot they could do with this. So I do think they ended the show on a good note. But anyways, that's my review of this week's TNA Impact Wrestling. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this week's show in the comments, and thanks for watching.